out and so on. Canadian humorous author Farley Mowat. He was with a reconnaissance unit in Italy in the Canadian Army in the Second World War. Reconnaissance is always a dangerous job. You go first and you're hoping there's nobody out there, but you come up on them and they're lying in ambush like we see the Germans are doing here. Yeah, you just want to sort of bump them, figure out where they are, and then run back to tell the others. Your job is not to fight and take them out. Now we're going to have you use your imagination somewhat today. In that, obviously in the Second World War, there's lots of air power and artillery. So there will be artillery simulations as if cannons are firing from way in the back somewhere and shelling the German position, same with mortar rounds and so on. But it's simulated. As for air attacks, you go to big reenactments down in the States, they actually have World War II aircraft. They'll have to bomb the battlefield, or at least simulate it. You're going to have to imagine that today. Oh, here we come. Here's the first reconnaissance vehicle approaching. So you'll see the first one's a soft skin vehicle. In other words, there's no armor on it. One of the Canadians is dismounted. He's using, I think that's the Enfield he's using. Hard to see from this distance. Standard Canadian rifle in both World Wars. But he's now pinned down by the German fire. The anti-tank gun having taken out his vehicle.
And just keep walking. Oh, that's a bad idea.
If you look to your left, you can see Canadian infantry now deploying. And with a modern rifle, that's a reasonable distance, right? You could hit a guy that far out easily. There's a Bren carrier or universal carrier, the little vehicle there carrying infantry up, supported by a Sherman tank. That is true. In the Second World War, they wouldn't have flags on the top of your tank. That's a bit of a giveaway. That's just to let you know who are the Canadians in the scene.
Is that a Sherman 75 or a Sherman Firefly?
It's a Sherman, but it's a late model Sherman. It's not the early 75 with the short gun.
So it's a Firefly?
It's a later variant in the Firefly.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing to think it's legal for people to own these, to drive them around. You notice one section fires while the other section advances. So somebody's found it.
They got plenty of
The
warning.
lieutenant goes after it. Okay. You can see the Canadians really struggling. A frontal assault is always difficult. Alicia Brendan taking an empty tank down. You'll see up the village the Germans have a tank actually embedded in the building. Again, one section fires while the other section advances. Definitely bad for the Canadians. The attack was definitely faulty here on the right. As I said, the Germans are very professional army. The one thing they were really good at is defending, and then as soon as they got the chance, they would counterattack. And all the Canadians were disorganized and they casualties. The Germans would have rushed forward and tried to retake the ground, and ideally take some prisoners. You see that everybody has learned from the First World War, right? No big groups of guys walk forward slowly. Instead, everyone's doing fire and move. Go quickly, get under cover. Here comes a German Kübelwagen, a Jeep-like vehicle. Unarmored. Basically, it's the German equivalent of a Jeep. In the 1970s, for those of you old enough, Volkswagen sold them as that thing. You buy them and drive them around in Canada. Uh-oh, this looks definitely like a German victory today. And in fact, most Canadian prisoners were treated relatively well by the rules of the Geneva Convention, as were the Germans captured in previous way, were placed in prison camps here in Canada, in places like Streetsville or Fort Henry.
There's a drone. Somebody's flying a drone.
By the end of the war, though, as the German supply system started collapsing, food became more and more restricted in the prison camps. So I had a friend who was a veteran of the Second World War. When he was liberated in 1945, he weighed 90 pounds, which is pretty thin for an adult male. The guy must have been, I have a leg that weighs 90 pounds. Like 90 pounds is nothing for an adult male. But he said everybody was starving by the end.
Tapferes Sieg für das Reich, Kameraden!
And strangely enough, the Red Cross was on both sides. The Cross was both a German and an Allied thing, and they would help the injured on both sides and supervise the prisoners on both sides to make sure they were being treated correctly. And it's amazing how quickly the word got back. On one of those trips I was talking about when we went to Dieppe, one of the women we went with, her husband had been killed at Dieppe. 3 days after the battle, she was informed through the Red Cross that he was dead, not a prisoner. That was pretty amazing. The Germans figured out who was who, let the Red Cross know in Switzerland, they let the Red Cross know in Britain, and they were able to contact her in Canada within 3 days of his death, which is pretty amazing in a pre-computer age. The Germans haven't taken prisoners and now going to fall back to their position and dig in and see what happens next. So as I said, everybody you see here is a volunteer. They've all purchased their own uniforms, they've purchased their own weapons, they've purchased the ammunition, let alone paid the gasoline to get here and the accommodation, hotels, and so on. So ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to give a round of applause for all the